Welcome to Sacred Sundays. I do this every Sunday, so please join me. I'm continuing again with last week because, as you know, we have a lot of people going through a lot of anxiety and depression. So hopefully you took the suggestion of listening to the drums or the singing bowls, but I just want to kind of go over why this is so important. We know that there's a lot of stress going on right now. We see the changes that's going on in the environment. People may be facing job losses, healthcare concerns, and I want to provide you with tools to help you deal with that. Because if you ignore your anxiety or if you ignore your depression, it can go into chronic ailments, okay? So like if you're suffering from things like depression, it can go into things like chronic fatigue, it can go into things like, yes, constipation, and it can go into things like insomnia, which can affect brain fog, okay? And if you ignore things like that, we're talking about long-term, like memory loss issues. All of this can cause an increase in cost, all right? If you're suffering from things like anxiety can raise your cortisol levels. Anxiety can raise your blood pressure, okay? If you ignore it. And all of these are like additional health issues that's really, really concerning, okay? So one of the things I want to stress, again, we talk about the deep breathing, and I hope you're listening to the music, okay? If it's too loud, let me know. I'm going to turn it down a little bit so it's not too much, okay? Thank you for listening. So one of the things I wanted to talk about from last week, I talked about the drumming. I'm going to talk more about that. But I'm going to kind of mention a couple of healing herbs that you can help you with as a natural aspect. And do make sure that if you're on any kind of medication, that it doesn't cause any side effects. So one of the good herbs that can help with antidepressants is St. John's wort. But the key thing about St. John's wort, if you're on any kind of SSI, like for anxiety, it can have side effects, okay? But if you're not, St. John's wort is good. Lemon balm is good for anxiety. So if you are not on any medication, or clear it with your provider, these are a couple of good suggestions. One of the things I do want to say is that when it comes to herbs or anything you're taking, the first thing you need to do, because anxiety and depression is a sign of inflammation, you do need to get the inflammation out. And it's really key that you need to know that if you are consuming the wrong foods, it can only make your anxiety and depression worse. A lot of people don't even realize this. And when we talk about inflammation, we're talking about the gradual breakdown of your cells, tissues, and organs. And inflammation is by many different factors. It's the food that you're eating that has the toxins in it, okay? It's parasites, worms, heavy metals. So if you have pets, you probably need to detox, okay? Because a lot of folks that get parasites and worms they can get them from their pets, okay? Another way of getting inflammation or these toxins in you is obviously heavy metals. And that, and if you're aware, we've got a lot of cutbacks in, say, the water and the air. So the requirements saying that we can only have a certain amount of toxins or level of, say, toxins in the air and toxins in the water, these have been removed, or they've opened them up. So we're inhaling and we're breathing in. And also stress, what's going on can add to it. So when you have all those factors going in and you don't take the time to detox your body and keep your BLOOD clean, okay, which is really key. And this has been proven by the National Institute of Health. You can look it up. They've actually even stated, though, that keeping your blood clean is really I hate to say antidote, but one of the strongest method it is in order to fight against chronic illnesses. And if you want to know of an herb that's being used, or a combination of herbs that's been used for many generations in the Caribbean, it's this. So if you want to know more about this, you need to go here. I can't say it because I get blocked, okay? So if you want to know about it, this creates close to a gallon, and it's multi-use, so it helps to not only remove the toxins, but it also helps to keep your BLOOD clean, which is key. But I'm going to get back to why we're doing this session. So I'm going to change the music and I'm going to have us do a deep breathing, okay? It's going to be a 4-4-4. I'm going to put this one on pause. Hold on a second. I'm going to put this on pause and I'm going to bring some Tibetan singing bowls. And remember when I was talking about the singing bowls and the singing bowls? Let me turn it up a little bit. Hopefully you can hear it. One of the things I was saying about the singing bowls is that the singing bowls, you know, and if you've ever been to a live singing bowl, it helps you to release a lot of tension. The good thing about the singing bowls is that the singing bowls work with the alpha and theta brain. And so it helps to calm you, helps you to deep breathe. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a box breathing, okay? It's going to be 4-4-4, very simple. When you come next week, we're going to do 4-6-4-4. And each week I'm going to do something a little bit different, okay? So we're going to do 4-4-4. So you're going to breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, and then hold for 4, okay? Now, I'm going to do it with you, and I'm going to say it, okay? So, and as you breathe in, make sure you breathe in through your nose and to your gut, because you really want to get the oxygen down in your stomach. And then when you breathe that out and you hold it, you breathe that out, you can breathe out through your mouth or your nose. Traditionally, folks breathe out through their nose, because I did used to go to do yoga at the Hindu Temple of Atlanta. And so they really taught us about some really serious nose breathing, and that'll be later on. So let's do the 4-4-4 breathing, okay? We're going to do it a few times because I want to get you into the sync, okay? So let's breathe in. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. Hold. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. Breathe out. And then hold again. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. And I'm going to do it again, but I'm not going to speak, okay? And you can do it with me in sync, because it makes it easier for me to really breathe in. Because when you breathe in, you want to get your stomach to expand, and then hold it, okay? And hopefully you can see what I'm doing, and then breathe out. So. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed that, okay? So, I'm going to talk a little bit more. So, the goal is that if you are dealing with anxiety and depression, not taken away if you are getting therapy help, this could be added as a support, okay? So, each week I'm trying to provide you additional information to help you. Some people don't have the luxury to go get therapy, okay? Some people can't afford therapy, all right? And some people are just not comfortable with therapy. So I'm providing you tools that have been used for eons in other cultures that have been studied, some tweaked a little bit more modern, that you can use, all right? So if you're going through something stressful, and many of us are, please start incorporating this. Listen to the singing bowls, because remember I said the singing bowls helps to, sync your left and right brain, okay? It encourages slower breathing, and it also helps with the long, exhalation, all right? And this is key. This is key so that you can help calm your nervous system. And if you can do this, even say, for instance, you may not have time to do a deep breathing in the morning, but you're doing it while you're getting ready, you're bringing that energy, that frequency around you. One of the things I want to stress is one of the first instruments were drums, were bowls. That's what people used. And so there's a scientific evidence that it syncs with you, all right? So I want you just to take this time and we're going to do a little bit of tap-in, emotional freedom tap-in, especially for those that are going through stress right now. And the good thing about the emotional freedom tap-in is that it has been known to basically release any emotional thank you so much. It's been known to release any emotional blockages. So as also, and I tell you about the drums, if you listen to like some African drums and you dance and you hit your chest, that also removes it. And I'm gonna play some in a minute, okay? But I'm gonna do the EFT tapping. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys joining this live, okay? Because during the week, I do more lives about inflammation and different inflammation like headaches and constipation and hot flashes, and I talk about that as well as the cost of medical care, and I have a class on that. But Sunday is more a spiritual center, so we're going to do an EFT, and there's certain meridian points like the top of your head that we tap a few times, then right here between your brow that we tap a few times, then just by the side of your eye we tap a few times, and we talk as we're doing it. Then under the eye, under the nose, under the chin, the collarbone. I like to tap the chest. I know that because the chest can hold a lot of emotion, okay? The chest, the side of the hand, and then the wrist, all right? So you can join with me. I know I'm going to be talking. I'll give you a chance to repeat it as you're tapping, okay? And then I'll go to the next one and give you a chance to repeat it, or you can just do it along with me, all right? So let's just focus on depression, all right? All right, so even though I'm feeling really down right now, even though I'm feeling down right now, I'm releasing it out of my body. Again, I'm releasing it out of my body. And I'm moving this energy that's making me feel so down. Yes, I'm moving this energy that's making me feel so down. I'm releasing it out of my system. I'm releasing it out of my system. I'm breathing it out and I'm releasing it out. I'm breathing it out and I'm releasing it out. Because I know that if I have this stuck in my body, it's only going to make me feel worse. So I'm releasing it. I know it's only going to make it feel worse, so I'm releasing it. And I'm going to tell myself I'm going to feel better. And I'm going to tell myself I'm going to feel better. Because I am better. Because I am better. And I know this situation is only temporary. Thank you. And I know this situation is only temporary. And I need to do this because I have to be strong. And I need to do this because I have to be strong. I need to do this because I need to think clearly. I need to do this because I need to think clearly. So I release this. I release this pain. So that I can get up every day and think. So that I can get up every day and breathe. And I can get up every day and breathe. And I can start to feel at peace. And I can start to plan my next move. And I can start to take pleasure in little things. And I can start to find goodness in little things. Because I am strong. And this pain is only temporary. So I'm letting it go. I am letting this go. So I can feel at peace. Because feeling at peace makes me able to think. It helps me to move. It helps me to find little joy in things. It helps me to find little joy in things. And that's the start of healing. And that's the start of healing. Thank you. Thank you. Ashe. So now, I've shown you a couple of tools to help you with your emotional support. So the goal when you do the emotional freedom tapping, look at your score. If your score is like, obviously if you're, 1 to 10, whatever the number is, start tapping, play some music, okay? Play some meditation or play the singing bowls and keep doing it over and over and over again until you can feel that your anxiety, your depression is down to at least a 2. So you keep repeating it and you keep tapping and you keep saying this over and over and over again until you can get down to a 2 or a 0. And there are a lot of great sites on YouTube that you can go to, but I would definitely suggest that, especially if you are suffering from, depression or anxiety and you need a quick fix. So the deep breathing helps you if you're suffering from anxiety because it can help slow the breathing. And then the EFT tapping can help you release some of that trauma that's in your body, okay? See? So we've got the singing bowls, okay? I hope you're enjoying what I'm saying. I've told you about the St. John's wort, all right? Again, that's a natural antidepressant, but with anything you take, if you want herbs to work, you've got to clear the junk out of your body, all right? So I can't talk enough about this, all right? You have to. If you want to know more, you can find it here. I can't really say it because this site will, will control me, and start eating like magnesium rich foods, all right? Whether it's pumpkin seeds, because that can help to reduce stress. Dark chocolate is good. Also make sure you have your omega-3s, whether it's flax seeds or walnuts or fatty fish. Start eating those kind of stuff. Fermented foods, because food is medicine, okay? So if you pair the deep breathing and the tapping with the herbs, okay, that you're drinking, all right, and the food, all right, this is all mind body healing, all right? And remember I talked about going out in the sun, and if you guys want to know more about the correlation with sun and helping with your emotional support, I have that on my channel. Just check my channel, Go Midway. It's like 5 of them, and I talk about the what the sun does in regards to helping you alleviate. So if you put all these different actions, it can really help you with healing. So the next thing I'm going to do is, hold on, I'm going to bring you the African drums. Hold on 1 second. African drums. All right. So the reason why when you do this, African drums are very rhythmic, okay? And the reason I want you to tap your chest, start moving, you know what that does? That releases the emotional tension. You feel it? African drums was one of the first instruments. And even today, drumming is used ancestrally in many different tribes as a way of releasing tension, releasing sadness, okay? It lowers the stress hormone, okay? Hear it? You don't have any drums? Tap your chest as you listen to the music. Dance. You feel it? You feel it? Yeah. Yes. You feel the yes. If any of you are feeling it, put a 1 in the chat. So when you're listening to this, because it's very predictable and it's not overstimulating. It helps to bring up an arousal, a happy arousal, an energetic arousal, and it removes the sadness. That's why when it comes to emotional support and emotional healing, you have to use sound, you have to use movement, you have to use herbs, you have to use food, you have to use breathing, okay? All right, you got it now. I'm gonna pause that. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the original that I was playing earlier, okay? So that you can listen more. All right, I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. All right. So one of the key things I want to stress again, when we talk about things like, let me turn this a little bit more down a little bit. When we talk about depression, it's very important that you understand that if you ignore these emotional situations, they can lead you into chronic ailments, okay? So what happens is, it's understandable that a situation can make you depressed or make you anxious. It's very, very understandable because we have a lot of stress around us. But the goal is for you to manage it so it doesn't become a sickness. And when it becomes a sickness, now you have that stress and it becomes an inflammation, and now you have the additional stress of medical bills. So now you got stress on top of more stress, and now you have an ailment that is weakening your cells, tissues, and organs, okay? So that's why it's important. There is you should, even if, say if you know somebody that's going through some kind of sadness, which is understandable, a lot of people are, don't be afraid to take them outside. Take them outside, like into nature. Because just being around that vegetation has been scientifically proven to help, regulate your nervous system. And that's the key about it, of everything. With anxiety and depression, it's all about having a dysregulated nervous system. And so the goal is to regulate your nervous system so that you come back into balance, okay? And then once you're able to regulate, things like listening to music like this is more enjoyable, okay? It means that you're less likely to have these reoccurring thoughts that people are having in order to, whether they want to take shrugs or if they want to, not be here in this world anymore. And so that's what happens if you leave depression and anxiety too long, all right? Because they can both work into each other. So things like anxiety, yes, can raise your cortisol, can raise your blood sugar, can raise your blood pressure, okay? It can also weaken your immunity if you ignore anxiety, which means if you have a lot of infections and illnesses, that's a lot of trips to the doctor, all right? It can also, if you have a lot of anxiety, create a lot of headaches. And so that is wearing down on your brain matter at that point, okay? Which can affect, your sleep and as well as your memory. And then if you keep on ignoring anxiety, we're talking about things like acid reflux, all right? A disruption in your stomach, okay? As well as constipation. So we don't want to do that, because when you look at things like constipation, you ignore that. And yes, I was supposed to do a live last week, but I'm going to be doing a live this week about that, because that's very, when I talk about constipation is very layered, all right? It really depends on it really need to be on the ailment that you have, because we can talk about different foods. And then for some folks, you got to kind of change things around, because you might find something working for you, and then it doesn't work anymore when it comes to constipation. So you may have to use a combination of different things. But I'll be doing lives about that this week. So when we talk about constipation, if you're not going every day, that means those toxins are getting reabsorbed back into your body. And that's just adding to the inflammation, all right? And that's just adding to your depression, your anxiety being worse. And there is a lot of correlation when I meet somebody who has anxiety. I'm not surprised when they have gut issues. I'm not surprised if they have sleep issues. And I'm not surprised if they have occasional, depression. I'm not surprised. So with depression, the key thing with that is, if you don't try to get that person outside and they're just like in their room, or they're just doom scrolling on social media, or they're not trying to, if you don't get them out, it can cause like chronic fatigue, okay? It can create things like, brain fog, which can affect long-term memory. You end up with memory issues as well as headaches. So it's key about that. It can affect your appetite, all right? And long-term, we're talking about cardio issues like heart disease. That's what depression can do, all right? It can also cause joint issues. So the goal is, you have a period, I understand people are mourning, but try to get that person out and get them engaged and give them a combination of different stimulation. Taking them outside, like even if you go to like listening to a lake or a stream, that's really good at releasing a lot of emotional tension. Yes, that's considered water therapy. So being near rivers or oceans really helps with releasing that tension, okay? Just like grounding helps with calming the nervous system, all right? So it might be too cold to go outside and walk barefoot, but you know what? If you can invest in a good quality, like a grounding mat, maybe that can help. But obviously outside is the best thing, all right? I don't see any questions. You guys are just listening, all right? So what I'm going to talk about next week, I'm going to talk more about the different nature, what it does, like with the birds, and what listening to the birds and the sunlight and listening to the rain, going to the ocean, what that does for emotional support. Do I see any messages? No, I don't have any messages. Anyhow, if you want to know about the going outside in the mornings, if you go to my channel, you will see like midway, I have a bonnet, it's in the morning, I had a bonnet on, and I talk about, nature, outdoor nature, and how that really helps with anxiety and depression, okay? But if you guys want to know more about this in regards to reducing inflammation, because especially if you're facing insurance cuts and you want to be on top of your health, and this is what people use a lot in the Caribbean. We use bitters because many of us don't have health coverage, but that's what we use. This creates close to a gallon, so it lasts like 8 months if you did a shot glass every day. You can go here if you want more information about it, okay? So I'll be back probably not tomorrow, but Tuesday night, maybe tomorrow, where I'm going to be talking more about inflammation, and I'll be doing a live about that, and the how to save on medical costs, how to survive and make savings with all these increased medical costs, okay? So thank you guys for joining.